The story of the first goddess takes us back much further than written history. Before humans wrote about God the King or God the Father, archaeology suggests the world's first spiritual focus was on the Mother. Here is the evolution of the female divine, from the Venuses of the Ice Age to the first written stories in Mesopotamia. The prehistoric Great Mother, c. 30,000, 10,000 BCE. Long before there were names like Isis or Mary, there was the archetype of the fertility goddess. The Venus figurines. Archaeologists have found hundreds of small, faceless stone carvings across Europe and Asia, such as the Venus of Willendorf. These figures have exaggerated features representing pregnancy and nursing. The story. While we have no written story from this time, the art tells us that early humans viewed the earth and the female body as the same thing, the mysterious source of all life. To these hunter-gatherers, God was likely the power of birth and the cycle of the seasons. The Neolithic Queen of Beasts, c. 7000 BCE. As humans settled into the first towns, the goddess became more humanized but remained the supreme power. Çatalhöyük, Turkey. In one of the world's oldest cities, we find the seated woman of Çatalhöyük. She is a goddess sitting on a throne flanked by two leopards. The story. She wasn't just a mother, she was the mistress of nature. She controlled the wild animals and the success of the first crops. At this stage, there is almost no evidence of a powerful male god. The goddess was the center of the universe. The first written goddess, Inanna, c. 3500 BCE. This is where the story of God officially begins in writing. In Sumer, Mesopotamia, we meet Inanna, later known as Ishtar. She is the most complex female figure in human history. Who she was the queen of heaven, the goddess of love, and the goddess of war. The story of Inanna's descent. This is the oldest hero's journey in literature. Inanna decides to visit the underworld, the realm of death, ruled by her dark sister Ereshkigal. To enter, she must pass through 7 gates, stripping off one piece of her royal clothing at each gate until she is naked and powerless. She is killed and hung on a meat hook, but later resurrected through the help of the other gods. The meaning. This story explains the cycles of nature. When the goddess is in the underworld, the earth is dead, winter drought. When she returns, life begins again, spring. The Egyptian mother of all, Isis. As we move toward the religions that influence the Bible, we find Isis. The story. When her husband Osiris was murdered and cut into pieces, Isis traveled across Egypt to find his parts and remember him. She used her magic to bring him back to life just long enough to conceive their son, Horus. The legacy. Isis became the symbol of the devoted mother and protector. In the early days of the Roman Empire, the cult of Isis was the most popular religion in the world. Many historians note that the early Christian imagery of Mary holding the baby Jesus is almost identical to the ancient statues of Isis holding the baby Horus. Why the female story changed. As societies became more focused on warfare and kingship, c. 2000 BCE, the story of God shifted. Mesopotamia. Inanna remained powerful but was often portrayed as fickle or dangerous. Greece. The great goddess was split into many: Athena, wisdom; Aphrodite, love; Hera, marriage. No one woman held all the power anymore. The Bible. The feminine side of God was largely removed in favor of a singular male patriarch, though some scholars believe the Shekinah, the divine presence, in Jewish mysticism is a remnant of the ancient goddess. Summary. The evolution of the goddess. Primary form. The Venus, the enthroned queen, Inanna, Ishtar, Isis, Durga, Kali,